welcome to Making Sales Social Live. And so today we're going to talk about social listening.
Welcome to Making Sales Social Live, as we share LinkedIn and social selling training, strategies, and tips that will have an immediate impact on your business. Join Bill McCormick, Brynne Tillman, and me, Bob Woods, every week. Making Sales Social Live. This is the recorded version of our weekly Making Sales Social Live show.
What does that mean, Brynne? What does social listening mean to you?
Yeah, what a great question. And I think social listening can mean a lot of different things, but when it comes to social selling and using social listening as a sales tool, I think it's about understanding what is meaningful to your targeted audience. Often we go out and share content that we want to share, and we need to share content that they want to consume, but how would we know what that is without social listening? So I think we're going to talk about a couple of ways to do that today, and then we'll continue that in a future episode. But I think before we get into tips, we have to understand the importance of social listening.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean, whenever I think about social listening, I always go back to my times when I was in broadcast news and producing news shows and things like that. We didn't have the tools as a television station that everyone individually has now. And that's so important because, I mean, we used to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on research so we can figure out, what it is our audience needs to do. Now, we just fire up Google, look at a website, check their social platforms, do all of that stuff. And, the only thing we're out is time. We're certainly not out of money. That's for sure. Like we were. So, I mean, it's amazing the wealth of information that we have now that we can integrate into our social selling efforts by social listening.
I agree. And you keyed in on it, Bob. This whole idea of Google. A couple of weeks back, my now 9-year-old granddaughter, she just turned 9 just the other day, she was over and she asked me a question about something. I said, I don't know, Ava, I don't know the answer. She said, well, get your phone, Google it. At 9, she knew that. And I did some research, and in 1900, human knowledge doubled about every 100 years, right? By the end of 1945, it doubled every 25 years. Do you know how long it takes for information to double now?
I'd say a minute, but that's probably not.
It's actually 13 months. On average, but they say very soon, because of the internet, it's going to be doubling every 12 hours. And so all of that to say, to reiterate what Bob said, so much information is right at our fingertips. And so when we socially listen, and what I like to say is we listen with our eyes, because we have to read it, we have to consume it. But if you're like me, you read out loud. So that's what my wife says. She knows when I'm reading something really seriously because my mouth is moving. And it's so important to figure out what is it that our ideal clients want to hear, not what we want to say, that Brynne started saying. I liken it to the golden rule versus the platinum rule. The golden rule is do unto others as you want done unto you. So you give them content that you think they'd like. The platinum rule goes one step further, do unto them as they want to be done unto. In other words, give them the content that they want to create. And the only way that we can do that is by socially listening. So the first one we have up is Google. Go figure. Google their company name. And so who wants to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And, it's funny whether this is social listening to start a conversation or social listening, but, we've got a scheduled conversation and we want to find information to build rapport. Or we just want to learn about a company to find out if, in fact, it is a company we'd like to work with. Mm-hmm. And so when we Google the company name, you're going to get all kinds of results. I typically click on the news tab, and a lot of people don't do this, right? They'll just go first page, second page of Google. Mm-hmm. But if you click on the news tab, you'll see press releases, if they won an award. things that are in the news, right? And so often that is content that's really valuable. You get to see, have there been any mergers or acquisitions? Sometimes even they run press releases on new hires. There's you could see if they were honored at a Chamber of Commerce event. There is lots of content around a company in the news. So that is one place, Googling the company name in the news. Another one is Google Alerts. I know Bob spends a lot of time on Google Alerts, so I'm going to pass that to him.
Yeah, I'll definitely take that one because it kind of goes back into the news thing that I was talking about before. It's one of the many reasons why I'm so glad I had that experience because, believe it or not, a lot of it applies right now. But so what Brynne was talking about is you're pulling information from Google to find this stuff out. Google Alerts flips that on its head and pushes information out to you. So what you can do is come up with keywords and key phrases and set them up as separate alerts so that whenever a company or a person is mentioned in the news, you get that information like that. Basically, it's better than a newscast because it could come, depending on your settings, it could come to you at any time. And let's say, for example, you're reaching out to an exec at a company and you're wondering, what the heck am I going to talk about? And then this alert pops up that they've been honored by an industry organization or something like that. That is a perfect mention for you to get in front of them. And, they may know about it. They may not know about it. A lot of companies' internal communications aren't that great, let's be honest. So you could be the person telling them about something that happened at their company. So, I mean, that's adding value. I mean, if that ain't adding value, I don't know what is. So that's just one of the many things that you can get from Google Alerts.
Yeah. Now, to set up Google Alerts, just go to google.com/alerts.
Yep.
And you can set up, I recommend putting all of the companies that you're going after there inside of Google Alerts. Put your own company name and your name.
Absolutely.
And Bob mentioned if there are specific executives that you're looking to get in front of, add them as well.
Before we move on, because what we're going to talk about now are places that the company puts information. So Googling company name and look at news sources, and Googling alerts is going to send you to other sites. It might send you to the company site, but it's going to send you to other news sources. So it's so important that you read through those articles. Just don't copy and paste an article and send it to someone thinking this is great. And it's, about this terrible thing that happened to the company and they laid off 150 people.
Bankruptcy.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So have some wherewithal. Socially listen with your eyes, read the article. It's always great to pull a quote out. Really loved what your CEO said about so that you're making it even more personal. So now we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit and look at what the company is saying about themselves. So one of the places you can go is the company website. And so there's a number of different places you can make some discovery here about the company. You can go to the About section, where you can usually see their mission statement, their value statement, their vision, where are they going? You can find leadership. Sometimes in the About section, we'll have our corporate leadership and you can find names. And sometimes there's that little in button and you can click and it takes you right to their LinkedIn profile. But then also they have press releases. You're typically not going to find bad news on a company's website's press releases. This is the good stuff that they want you to find. And so the company website can be full of great information for you. Also blogs. What are they writing about? Because what they're writing about, they're writing for their clients. And so that's the type of information that you want to find.
I was going to say, believe it or not, the careers section is also a great place because if they're staffing up an area or if they have a location that's not listed in their locations, if they have separate locations or whatever throughout the country, but then you go into their careers and you see a brand new city in there, they're staffing up for a location that they haven't announced yet. So careers, along with everything else that Bill just said, I mean, you don't tend to think of careers as much, but that could be a treasure trove of information for you.
Never considered that at all. So great. So I've learned something today. I've got to make a note about that. And then the other thing is their social platform. So we talk about LinkedIn, and in our next episode, we'll cover some areas on LinkedIn to socially listen. But let's talk about some other social platforms. Are there other social platforms?
There are, believe it or not.
Are there?
Really?
What are they called?
Well, so Twitter is a big one, right? So very fast, real-time information is going out on Twitter. And so that's a great place to see what's happening inside of the organization. One of the things that I did a long time ago, and I don't do enough of this, but it's also social listening, is I was going to be speaking with an influencer. It was not a sales call, but it was definitely someone that I wanted to gain rapport with. And I took a look at his Instagram, and I actually saw that he had gone on a Royal Caribbean cruise, and that's the cruise line we go on. So something that simple, I was able to start and build a rapport. We had been on the same ship a couple of times. Like, we were able to engage on a social level before we got into business, which builds rapport. So not just the company that we're researching, but the individuals that we're going to be speaking with. Now, some people say, well, isn't that creepy? They're putting it out there for people to see. Right? Like it's just, I would not consider that creepy. I would consider that doing your homework. And, and I know next week we're going to spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, but generally I want to throw out something that I think is really important. Do not ever get on a call and ask a question that you could have found by social listening first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
That deserves to be repeated often.
Yeah, I got a message on LinkedIn from someone from a networking company. Hey, Bill, what's your email? And I wanted to say, go to my profile, click on the contact information.
Everywhere.
And I just put my email in there. And we're going to talk later, and I'll say, hey, did you know that? And that's another good reason to have your business email in your contact information. Yes. On LinkedIn. So we talked about Twitter, fast paced, right? So that's the headline, that's the snapshot, that's the right now it's happening. Instagram, a lot of pictures, right? A lot of pictures on Instagram. Then
it's even more personal, I think, too. I mean, especially with companies, too. I mean, because they're trying to convey an image as well as text at that point. So you can really get more. I actually think more of a feel nowadays from Instagram than you can with Twitter. And I'm not saying don't blow up Twitter or anything like that, but I mean, Instagram, I think, has really elevated itself in terms of how not only individuals but companies use it.
Yeah, and I think especially events. So they're there, they're taking pictures, and Facebook for that also. Many companies have Facebook pages, and then also looking at the different people you're going to meet with, you can see more. Typically, Facebook is more family oriented. I know that's how I use it. If you look at my feed, you'll see we had birthday parties here yesterday, and so that's what that's about. And then there's the kind of the offshoot, the new player in the social media field, Pinterest, where that's really what
it's old.
Yeah,
it's
Pinterest.
Old.
Yeah,
it's just back.
Pinterest is like what is old is now new again.
Okay. I only know we have a page there, and that's how I kind of know about it. I don't, and I've heard the term Pinterest fails. So those are things you try to do, right? You see on Pinterest and you try to do.
Yeah.
If you sell into a visually, like we have 2 new clients selling into food service, right? And so there's a lot of visual around both the food production and the restaurants. So they tend to have a lot of Instagram. So here's the bottom line, right? Figure out where your prospects are hanging out, and start to truly listen to what it is that matters to them, and start your conversations around what matters to them, not about your product, not about your service. Just identify what is the content, the topics that they want to talk to. I say it all the time. treat the person on the other side of the message the same way you would if they were on the other side of the table. If you were sitting next to someone and they made a comment about their products, their industry, you would first talk about that before you would talk about you. So why would we do it any different on social? So social listen. And, as we go through, I mean, we're going to have lots and lots of these Making Sales Social Live. We're going to talk about how to use that content deeply moving forward. But on our next Making Sales Social Live, it's part 2 of this. What are we?
Part 2 of this one is going to be social listening, but this time using LinkedIn specifically. So
the number one best social platform in our humble but very accurate opinion. So join us next time for the next episode of Making Sales Social Live. And we'll be talking about things such as the LinkedIn company page, social listening there, on folks' profiles, looking at the recommendations, and then we'll actually kind of put it all together and talk a little bit about how to use the information we're finding to have conversations and begin to build rapport. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Don't miss an episode. Visit socialsaleslink.com/podcast. Leave a review down below. Tell us what you think, what you learned, and what you want to hear from us next. Register for free resources at linkedinlibrary.com. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and Google Play. Visit our website, socialsaleslink.com, for more information.